up, everybody? What's up? I hope everyone is doing good. Welcome to another episode of Latin Splaining with Denise. Guys, this is an impromptu one. You guys know, oh my God, we have to talk about this. We really have to talk about this. But before we talk about this topic, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone that took some of their time to tune in to this stream. Also, I want to give a shout out to the people that are catching this on the replay. Thank you very much for choosing this platform to keep you informed on everything that's happening all around the globe. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to all the people that tune in any other format of podcast and whatever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much for all the Latin splainers overseas. We got people, like I said before, we have our Irish Latin splainers, our Russian Latin splainers, our Australian Latin splainers listening to our content all the time. So guys, thank you very much for making Latin splaining a source for all of you. Now, without any further ado, guys, MK, thank you. Okay, don't come in here talking crazy or you will be booted. You got one chance over here. Yeah, we ain't playing over here. We are not here trying to appease anybody. I'm not trying to debate this whole thing with anybody. Okay, this is something that we're gonna touch on this topic, and that's it. Hey Morena, what's up? We're gonna touch on this topic. Hey, Reese around, guys. Hit the like button as you come in. It's nice to see y'all here. I'm gonna say it. You guys know I am a benevolent dictator on my platform, but I would say this is something that I'm not gonna tolerate stupidity. If you want to debate my arguments, you're more than welcome to do so. Don't come with the stupidity because today is not the day. Okay, we're not gonna tolerate stupidity. You come stupid, you'll be out. Okay, that's just how it is. Now, I want to remind everybody, do not copy my content without written authorization. Reach out to me, and if I decide that you can share my content, I will give you written authorization. If you share my content and then later on I find out and I get notified that you're using my content, I don't want to hear this when you get a copyright strike. Okay, I don't want to hear what I usually hear. Okay, I don't. Don't come crying when your stuff gets taken down. Okay. That's all I'm going to say, because I know how some fellas are here and they're extremely unprofessional. I'm trying to run a show. Don't try to undermine what I'm doing. Okay. So, guys, let's get right into it, okay? We've been seeing a lot of stuff regarding the rapper Kanye West, okay? If you guys know what I'm talking about, basically, Kanye West went to Norris show and actually made a comment regarding the death or the homicide of George Floyd. You guys know that this has been very controversial, and that, to be honest, a lot of people have had mixed feelings about this because either they're on drugs, which is my conclusion, because there's no way you don't understand that a man's knee actually killed this man. Okay, either they're on drugs, they are retarded, or they literally have no brain cells, or the simple answer is they literally are racist people, because those are the only reasons why you won't be able to understand that this man actually killed George Floyd by placing his knee with his whole body weight on this man, while other cops, because that's another thing that people forget, other cops were also on top of Mr. Floyd. There's only so much pressure one man can take on his body. Now, I want to start by showing it. Thank you, MK. It was called Drink Champs podcast where Kanye West said what he said. I'm gonna just, and this is fair use. Hey, Johnny Mills, this is fair use. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just gonna play a little bit so you guys can hear what Kanye West on his latest episode has said about what he believes Mr. Floyd went through.
Floyd documentary that Candace Owens put up. One of the things that his two roommates said was, they want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. And the day when he died, he said a prayer for, 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. He said a prayer for 8 minutes. They hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that. When he said mama is his girlfriend. They said he screamed for his mama. Mama was his girlfriend. It's in the documentary. But something that hit me, that fucked me up when I was watching the documentary, and it said, they want a tall guy like me. When I looked at that image of him, this tall black dude with the bald head, he reminded me of somebody else. Who do you think he reminded me of? Virgil. He reminded me of Virgil.
Now, that's basically what he said, because he was mixing everything all together. But you guys can actually see what Kanye West just said, basically that George Floyd actually died not because of his fentanyl use, not because of Derek Chauvin's knee. That's basically what he said. And again, you can have your opinions. I can have my opinion, but facts are facts. And you guys know that here on Latin Explaining, we don't play with facts. I'm going to pull up because I watched the whole thing, and for the people that are like, that are going to start crying, cry me an effing river. I'll play the smallest violin for you. This is just facts. This is not something I am saying. These are just facts, okay? Let's pull out the medical examiner report on Mr. Floyd that was performed 6 days after Mr. Floyd passed. And if you guys can see, the cause of death is cardiopulmonary arrest, complicating law enforcement, subdual restraint, and neck compression. Now, many people will say, well, maybe he had cardiopulmonary arrest because he was consuming fentanyl and whatever. Look, Kanye West just said that the neck, the knee was not on the neck. So basically, he's saying that the medical examiner, which is the people that actually do these things, and actually do medicine for a living, that basically they are wrong. That they are wrong because the knee wasn't compressing Mr. Floyd's neck. But again, let me pull the medical examiner's report. This is not a Denise thing. This is what a medical examiner said. Neck compression. And it said that it was because of law enforcement subdual restraint. That's basically what it says. Cardiopulmonary arrest. That's basically what it says. That's basically what it said. Okay? So at the end of the day, people can say whatever they want to say, but that's what the doctors say. And as if that isn't enough, because a lot of people apparently need to be, moderators. I'm going to say this one time. Stupid comments like this one right here. I'm not going to even highlight it. Reyes Sinoalense. People without a brain. I want them blocked. Not timed out, blocked. Okay? I want them blocked. And thank you. More comments like that, blocked. Okay? Thank you, Morena. Exactly. You don't need the Emmys report. We all saw that video. Exactly. So again, either you're on drugs yourself, you are retarded, which that will give you a pass if you have a mental condition like Kanye West. That's why he can't understand science. Or you're just a racist person that believes a black man deserves to die like a dog on the street, in the streets of a free country. Yes, MK. They did several autopsies on him. So that's basically what the ME said. But if that isn't enough for the slow people that don't watch the systems that we have in place in this country, right? Let's hear it from the doctor that testified, one of the many doctors that testified on Mr. Floyd's case. Just hear him out.
2, 3.
Fair use.
4, 5.
He's counting how many times just
6,
Mr. Floyd is breathing.
7, 8.
So that was roughly a 17-second clip,
Right?
and you counted 7 or 8 breaths.
Between 7 and 8. Yeah.
And did you use this to calculate a rate of respiration?
Yes, because I mean, it's simple. Once you have 19 seconds and you count out the number of breaths you have here, and if it say you count out 7 breaths, that will come out at a respiratory rate of 22.
Is that number, the respiratory rate of 22, significant to this case?
It's extremely significant.
Why is that?
Because one of the things in this case is the question of fentanyl. And if fentanyl is having an effect and is causing depression of the respiratory centers, the centers that control breathing, that's going to result in a decrease in the respiratory rate. And it's shown that with fentanyl, you expect a 40% reduction in the respiratory rate. So with fentanyl, his respiratory rate should be down at around 10. Instead of that, it's right in the middle of normal at 22.
So you didn't see a depressed rate of respiration or breathing rate in Mr. Floyd?
No, it's normal.
And so what does it tell you, bottom line, with respect to fentanyl as relates to Mr. Floyd?
Exactly. In terms of fentanyl, one of the major changes you see in fentanyl is a slowing of the respiratory rate. So, and again, we would be expecting a 40% reduction in the respiratory rate with fentanyl. The normal respiratory rate is 17 breaths per minute, plus or minus 5. So that would mean a normal respiratory rate of between 12 and 22. That's the normal range of respiratory rate. And so if it was with fentanyl, you'd be expecting a respiratory rate of 10. Instead of that, you counted here yourself. And you can see when you counted yourself that the respiratory rate is 22.
So basically, you have not Denise, you have a doctor explaining to you that when fentanyl is the cause of cardiopulmonary arrest, your breathing rate per minute goes down by 40%. George Floyd's respiratory rhythm was optimal. So it was not fentanyl that killed him. And I want to make a very clear assessment to the moronic idiots that deny science, right? Because it's so crazy that they deny science when it comes to Mr. Floyd, but then they were the first ones having a meltdown when they were forced to take a job that wasn't tested properly, right? We wanted to believe science then, but then those same doctors, we don't want to believe them when they say that George Floyd died because they're shoving and all those officers asphyxiated that man. That's so crazy. Hey, Daniel Valencia, what's up? So basically, we're seeing that the doctor explained already that it wasn't because of the fentanyl use that Mr. Floyd died. And I said it on a post earlier on my Instagram. Okay. George Floyd could have been stabbed, shot at. He could have HIV/AIDS. He could have stage 4 cancer. He could have a heart disease. He could have been high as a kite. and it doesn't change the end result. The end result is that Derek Chauvin's knee was the cause of his death. But we're going to let also, because a lot of people love to move their mouth a lot and talk crap. We're going to let people that were there, because I wasn't there. None of y'all were there. But we're going to let the people that were there that also testified during this trial. We're going to let them tell you what they saw. And one of the persons that I like the most is this firefighter paramedic that was over there. When she talks about what happened, I wanted to hear from the people that saw with their own eyes what happened and what they did, because apparently people are slow like that. So let's hear what the actual people that saw what you did not see and what I did not see when they tell us the story. This is why it's important to watch trials. That's your duty as a citizen. But let's go listen to the firefighter.
When you first approached, you said you identified yourself as a firefighter.
Correct.
To whom did you identify yourself?
To Officer Tao, controlling the scene. I spoke loudly enough that I would think that the other three officers would have been able to hear me throughout the event.
We know you weren't, well, let me ask you this way. How did Officer Tao respond?
He said something along the lines of, if you really are a Minneapolis firefighter, you would know better than to get involved.
What did you think of that?
First, I was worried that he wasn't going to believe me and not let me help. And I also, that's not right. I mean, that's exactly what I should have done. And there was no medical assistance on scene, and I got there and I could have given medical assistance. That's exactly what I should have done.
So based on your training and experience and what you had seen, what did you want to do for this person on the ground?
Had they let me into the scene, I already had decided what his level of consciousness was, so I would have requested additional help. I would have wanted someone to call 911 for the paramedics and fire to come. I would have asked someone to run to the gas station and look for an AED. And I would have checked his airway. I would have been worried about a spinal cord injury because he had so much weight on his neck. I would have opened his airway to check if there were any obstructions. And I would have checked for a pulse. And when I didn't find a pulse, if that was the case, I would have started compressions. And I didn't have my bed bag, so I would have continued compressions. We don't give mouth to mouth anymore. So I would have continued compressions at a rate of 100 a minute until help arrived.
And by compressions.
Now, you guys are hearing again, the lady approaches the cops, talks to Officer Tao, and tells them, identifies herself as a firefighter paramedic that has the qualifications to actually help Mr. Floyd and give him medical attention. And the first instinct of these cops is to dismiss this lady's credentials, because that's what cops like this do. A lot of people want to say that this is solely about race. Let me tell you something. If you think that we don't have a problem with policing in America, you're out of your freaking mind. And you deserve the same meds cocktail that Candace Owens and Kanye West need desperately. We do have a disease in policing in America. We have bad, corrupt, disgusting, and murderous policing infecting America's police departments. Now, a lot of people will love me to do the classic disclaimer. I get it. Not all cops are like that. I get that part. But the ones that are like that are in large numbers. And it's time for us to just stop with this nonsense. So the first thing, hey Rakim, what's up? The first thing that people come to always is to talk crap, but they weren't there. This lady is there. She's not a black woman. They still treated her like a criminal because that's what modern cops that are corrupt and disgusting do. These cops decided that they could take George Floyd's life, and they decided to discredit his pleas for air. And she already said it. They were compressing his neck so much and his chest. She said that, not me. She was there. You weren't there. I wasn't there. She was there. And she said there was a lot of pressure on Mr. Floyd's chest. That's what she said. So again, are we making this up? Are we supposed to take Candace and Kanye's, a rapper and a podcaster? Their comments are more valid than medical personnel, than firefighters, than bystanders, and than the medical examiner. But let's continue to hear what this lady has to say. Let's continue, because at some point she reveals even more.
What do you mean?
I would have put my hands, stacked my hands and pressed his chest.
Chest compressions.
Chest compressions,
Yep.
correct, yeah.
And what's the point of doing chest compressions?
Pumping the blood for somebody that's not doing that themselves, trying to get a pulse back.
And were you able to do that, any of those steps?
No, sir.
Why weren't you able to do any of
Pay
that?
attention.
Because the officers didn't let me in to the scene. I also offered, in my memory, I offered to walk them through it, or told them, if he doesn't have a pulse, you need to start compressions. And that wasn't done either.
She's desperately trying to save George Floyd's life at this point. Telling them, okay, if I can step in, then I'll guide you through it so you can do it since you don't trust me. Let's see what happens.
And so are these things that you wanted to do?
It's what I would have done for anybody.
When you couldn't do that, how did that make you feel?
Totally distressed.
Were you frustrated?
Yes.
Ms. Hanson, as I told you, we can take our time. So feel free to just take a minute.
So is she making this up? Is she getting paid? Is she getting clout out of this? Is she getting a promotion out of this? This lady should be the cops that we have on the streets that are so pressed about people's lives that when someone dies on their watch, they feel distressed. This is what policing is supposed to do. But in exchange, what we have is cops that go out there not understanding their job. And I think people don't understand. I don't have a problem with police. I think police is necessary, and I love police culture. My problem is that police officers that do this type of things don't want to be held accountable for the stuff they do. And I'm going to explain my point. Police officers get paid the big bucks, even though a lot of people say, oh, that's not enough. Well, you get paid more than your average county worker because your job description is to go out there every day through the door of your home and be ready to die to uphold public safety. The reason why police officers have a pension that will cover their families and their kids in case of death is because that is their job description. They're supposed to die so that you and me make it home. No the other way around. And that's the policing we're having on the streets right now. Cops think they need to get home. No, we need to get home. That's why we're paying them the big bucks. Thank you, MK. MK says, everybody acts like we're trying to say George Floyd is an angel when we're trying to tell them that nobody should be killed in the way he was killed. He shouldn't have been killed at all. That's another point. I don't have a problem with Mr. Floyd making it to jail or prison or even death row if he earned that. Criminals deserve to go through the correction department. And if you think otherwise, you are mentally ill. Unless they're actively shooting at police, they should not be killed. Thank you, Morena. Hit the like button, people. That is a reality. We have fat cops out here, overweight cops, that when somebody runs away from them, they don't chase them like they used to. Now they shoot the suspects. That is not what policing is supposed to be. You're not supposed to shoot people that run from you because they're not a threat. And for the people that keep saying like, oh, George Floyd wasn't a hero, we know he wasn't a hero. George Floyd just happened to be the last straw that people were willing to tolerate of this bad and disgusting policing. His face and his name is just the last drop that we were willing to absorb of this madness. That's what people don't get. And in case you don't get it and you think I'm just full of shit, let's just go through this for the people that keep saying fentanyl killed Floyd and we're just doing this because we're just crybabies because he was a black dude. Here we go. California man dies screaming, "I can't breathe," as police restrain him. We're gonna go through all the way through 2020 to 2022. Let's see how many times this has happened. As you can see, died. This man died. Edward Bronstein was forced. I'm going to remove this banner so you guys can see completely. Newly released clip from 2 years ago shows Edward Bronstein being forced to a mat with at least 5 officers holding him down. Was he lying? Did fentanyl also kill him? Continue. Months before George Floyd, Angel Hernandez died at a downtown train station with a knee to his neck too. A Metropolitan Transit System officer put his knee on Angel Zapata Hernandez's back and neck for several minutes in October 2019. Zapata Hernandez, 24, died. Last week, the transit agency announced a $5.5 million settlement with his family. Was fentanyl the one that killed him too? Did fentanyl kill Angel Hernandez as well? Did he deserve to die? Let's continue because it gets worse. Family, 30-year-old Navy veteran died after Northern California police placed knee on his neck. The family of 30-year-old Angelo Quinto, a Filipino immigrant, has filed a claim against the city of Antioch for his wrongful death. Now, was this Navy veteran on fentanyl too? Was it his fault? And it continues. There's more. Tony Timpa. He died after a cop kneeled on his neck for 14 freaking minutes. Now his family can finally sue. Tony Timpa died after a police officer kneeled on his neck for 14 minutes. A court originally denied his family the right to sue. And it wasn't until September 7, 2022 that they were allowed to sue for the wrongful death. Was he on fentanyl too? Cops deserve to kill Tony Timpa as well. But it gets worse. Alameda police officers puts a knee on a man's back for 4 minutes before he died. It says, and this was 2021. Police said Mario Gonzalez had a medical emergency after officers tried to handcuff him, but his family says he was killed by police who used excessive force. Now, but it continues. What was it, fentanyl? What do you guys think he was on fentanyl? Let's continue. Phoenix has its own I Can't Breathe case. The outcome was far different. At least 4 officers got on top of him and held him down. Some put their knees on neck and head. I can't breathe, Muhammad is heard saying. Oh, let me read the top part. It says, 3 years ago, Phoenix had its own I Can Breathe case, but its outcome has so far been very different than that of George Floyd's. In 2017, Mohammed Abdul Muhammad Jr. tried to take his dog with him to the bathroom at a city community center in West Phoenix. The police were called, discovered he had a warrant for his arrest, and decided to detain him. At least 4 officers got on top of him and held him down. Some put their knees on his neck and head. I can't breathe, Muhammad is heard saying several times in police body camera footage when officers eventually got off of him. Muhammad had no pulse, according to comments from officers in the video, and laying in a pool of his own vomit. He was 43, unarmed, and black. Shall I continue? Can somebody in the comment section with a brain can actually tell me what all these cases had in common? Because all of them had a fucking knee on someone's fucking neck. Pardon my French. Was fentanyl the cause of death too? Can people understand why George Floyd is the figure of people that are fed up? We don't want police officers with their damn disgusting murderous knees on our necks. Why is that so hard to understand? That is not a hard thing to understand. I see that Daniel Valencia says, if you want to really get upset, see the police situations in Texas, especially Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. Act up with the police and they will stomp you dead or shoot you. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it, Daniel Valencia. I've seen it. And many people were like, oh, you know, it's just black people are crying, whatever, whatever. No, black people just live through this at a higher rate. But this happens to everyone. It's not black people's fault that Latinos are cowards and white people are lazy and they don't want to protest the lives of their people. Let's just keep it real, right? Since we like real things. Or you expect to be a damn couch potato and black people to also protest for the lives of your people. Because don't be fresh like that. So again, all these cases that we're seeing, was that fentanyl too? Oh, we're making George Floyd a hero. No, George Floyd is the face of all of these people that have been killed by the same tactics. And if you don't understand that, you are retarded. I see that MK says, hell, training for the police, they told me that you have to prep yourself before you walk out your door, that you might not make it home. Absolutely. That's the job. If you don't like that job, then don't become a police officer. Go scan articles at Walmart. That's why a lot of people don't become cops. It's really that simple. No one is asking you to become a cop. We don't want to see more police officers kneeling on people. We don't want to see more fat cops, unfit cops, smoker cops that can't fucking run, shooting people in the back. We don't want to see more no-knock warrants on people that are innocent, like Breonna Taylor, like Duncan. Duncan was a white boy that, I mean, during the whole George Floyd situation, that's what the group that was banned from social media, the B boys, I'm not going to say their name, they were banned, and they were protesting also with the George Floyd protesters, because Duncan was supposed to receive a warrant and police killed him. He was a white dude. Why is it that no one is telling people that Duncan deserved to die? It's like, oh, like, you know, everybody dies. I don't know why black people are doing this, whatever, whatever. Well, because white people to a degree also get upset, but nobody pays attention. We had the Boogaloo Boys, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it, protesting the same things. Why nobody goes at them? Are they crybabies too? Or are we gonna recognize we have a freaking problem? We do. I see Daniel Valencia also says, women don't get a free pass. Many situations that involve women get done by male cops here in Houston. Yeah, absolutely. They kill everyone. This is just lazy smoker fat cops, you know, that hate themselves and hate the job, and they're just doing it because they want the money, they want the pension, and they plan on retiring, and you're not going to get in their way. Now, Don Armando says, I'm sick of corrupt cops for real. Me too. I am so done. I want cops that actually want to do the damn job. We deserve those cops. If you don't want to do that, if you don't believe in public safety, get out of the way. Thank you, SKC. He says, need to see if I can have you on for a show. Great content as usual. Thank you very much. Shoot me an email. I'll put my email on the screen for a minute. So again, I'm not against, because a lot of people usually go like, oh, you know, the wokeisms and people are just calling for the dismantling of police. No, I love policing when it's done right. When cops understand that they get paid more than the average county worker to put their life at risk every day. When they understand that, those are the good cops. Those are the cops like Mr. Serpico. In case some of you guys don't understand who Serpico is, look him up. That's a cop telling you what they are. If you're not ready to die every day fighting crime and enforcing the law and serving the public that pays your salary, do not become a police officer. You're dirtying up the badge. I see that MK says, there's a saying by Usagi Kenshin, engage in combat fully determined to die and you will be alive. Wish to survive in the battle and you will surely meet death. That's what I was told. That's a powerful statement, MK, as usual. Dropping jewels out here. He said that that's what he was told when signing up for the force. That's what you're supposed to go into thinking, you know, having that mindset. This is a job that I can die in at any given time. That's just how it is. I see Don Armando says, hey, we could do a show one day. Yeah, also shoot me an email, Don Armando. Don Armando says, Serpico infiltrated the mob, right? Yeah, absolutely. He wanted to get promoted to a detective. And he was an outstanding cop in New York around a time where policing was just like it is today, the most corrupt. And police culture did not like clean officers like Mr. Serpico. So they weeded him out and shoot him. He survived. Go watch what he says today. There's a reason why they still have Serpico giving medals and seminars to current police officers. There's a reason for that. Go watch what he has to say. Stop bootlicking like MK's video. Stop being a bootlicker. And learn how to demand respect from the people that are supposed to serve us. Have some freaking dignity. We deserve better cops than this. This is the richest country in the freaking world. We deserve the best cops. Not these trash cops. And at last, I'm going to show my last piece of stuff. For the people that missed the trial but have the biggest thoughts on this, I'm going to show you a very brief clip of an MMA instructor that is also an active fighter, explaining why he was angry because he saw the officers do what is known as a blood choke on Mr. Floyd. But let's hear it from him, not from me, because I wasn't there, you weren't there, he was there. Let's hear him out. Let's see what the brother has to say.
His sorriness and his pain and his distress that he was going through. The more that the knee was blockly on his neck and shimmies that were going on, the more you're seeing Floyd slowly fade away, and like the fish in the bag, you seen his eyes slowly, pale out and again slowly roll to the back of his eyes. And so this is what I seen, this is what I heard, and that's how, what it was. Like, he was going through distress because of the knee, and he vocalized it that I can't breathe, I need to get up, and I'm sorry. And his eyes slowly rolled to the back of his head. You seen the blood coming out of his nose. You heard him tell him before he stopped speaking that my stomach hurts. And those, most of the time, is the last vowel movement of your life. So from there on, he was lifeless. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He didn't have no life in him, no more on his body movements.
During that time period, did you notice anything about his breathing that was significant to you?
Yes, just like in MMA, you can tell when someone gets tired, or you can tell when someone's getting choked out or things like that. His breathing was getting tremendously heavy and tremendously harder for him to breathe, and you actually could hear him. You could see him struggling to actually gasp for air while he was trying to breathe, and he barely could move while he was trying to get air.
So you guys already saw what Mr. Williams had to say. And this is an MMA fighter and also instructor that was there at the scene that you and me were not there. So are they lying, or we should take Candace and Kanye's opinions on the matter for clout because they're doing this just to get money? Should we take their opinion over facts more seriously? Are we really this dumb? Do we have to keep rehashing the disgusting policing that we see in America? Do you think we deserve better? Do you think this man and this man and this veteran that served America and this man and this man and this man, do you think this all these people, and there's more, these are just the ones that I fish throughout, sprinkling 3 minutes through the internet. There's plenty more. Do you think that this is just because George Floyd? This is not just because of George Floyd. Like, and I'll say it again for the slow ones. This is because we are tired of mediocre policing by brutal maniacs that are on TRT or too fat or smoker cops. We're tired of those. We want real cops, honorable cops, respectful cops. Hey, Ramon, and I agree. Yeah, your first comment landed it. He says Kanye needs to stop letting Candace Owens use him. And also, Kanye West needs to take his damn meds. And if you think Kanye and Candace are right, come on. Just use it. It's free. You were born with it. that's as best as I can put it on. And I want to finish with this note because I don't want to keep going long and long. I just wanted to address mass stupidity. Okay. And I'm gonna do this to everyone that comes to me with the stupidity that we see every day. If you think that what Mr. Floyd went through and all of these men that I showed here went through is not a cause of death, like the medical examiner said here, and I want you guys to see the classification. That's another thing that I forgot. If you look under the description of what was the cause of death, it said manner of death, homicide. If you think that these are not homicides happening out here, then I will throw this at Candace and Kanye West. How about you let people like Derek Chauvin or any one of us place our knee on your neck for 8 freaking minutes? And let's see if you survive it. When you are willing to do that, then you can come and tell us that that wasn't the cause of death, that it was fentanyl. Unless you are willing to do the Kanye Owens challenge, we don't want to hear your opinion, because that is just an opinion. So to everyone that says this stupidity, tell them to do the Kanye Owens challenge. Grab your best friend, place yourself under his knee or her knee for 8 minutes on your neck. And if you can tell us the tale and you live to tell us the tale, then you get to tell us that that didn't kill George Floyd. In the meantime, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no proof and no evidence of what you're saying. I get that you're mad. I get it. But that's reality. So come on now. Come on now. You got to stop. You got to stop with the nonsense. So guys, I just want to thank y'all for coming out here on a Monday. I hope that everyone's having a productive Monday. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to have our stream regarding one of the most biggest controversial topics that I have spoken about in the last few days and the last few streams, which is assimilation and segregation within yourself from a collective, and how should we assimilate? Yeah, Rakim, that's exactly true. Kanye is a fool and a tool. So tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific time, okay, we're going to be here again on Latin Splaining. Remember, October 23rd, we come back with the new season of Latinsplaining, the structures of America. There's many moronic people out there that don't understand this country, but have the biggest and loudest arguments that make no sense whatsoever. So guys, before we go, remember now that we have presented the evidence, as usual, we're going to have a lot of people. But don't get mad at me. That's just the evidence speaking. There's a reason why Derek Chauvin is doing 20-something years over there, okay? So before you get pissed off, I don't know what you're gonna do, okay? So, guys, take care. It was a pleasure. Thank you for letting me clarify this thing. If someone comes with stupidity, I want you guys to tag my video, share it to people on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere you go, and let them see the evidence, because we're burnt out explaining to people reality. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but that's how I feel. Without any further ado, guys, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, don't copy my content unless I have given you written authorization. And with that being said, guys, thank you very much. Take care. See you guys tomorrow.